Hi everybody, my name is Shrish,
My name is Thaarak.
and today we're going to start off with the definition. This is an orphaned well. It's an inactive oil or gas well that has been abandoned by its owner, leaving it with no one to maintain or plug it. And orphaned wells are really, really bad for the environment. They output a lot of metric tons of CO2 over their lifetime. They leach heavy metals and radioactive materials into the soil. They let hypersaline brine and toxic oil into the waters. They explode structures nearby, and they cause asphyxiation, leukemia, and chronic respiratory illness in humans. And there have been over 2 million oil wells dug in America, and over a million of them have been in the Appalachian regions. Unfortunately, 80% of the wells dug in Appalachia are undocumented. 68,000 of them have been discovered and documented, not necessarily plugged, but 800,000 wells in Appalachia are undocumented and are still leaking to this day.
And there's two main problems with this. The first one being that plugging these wells is extremely hard, and that's a large part of that is because they're so expensive. But the crazy thing is that there's over $1 billion in federal funding that's being saved and not used just towards putting in and sealing these wells. The second problem is that finding these wells is incredibly hard. Because they were drilled so many years ago, they weren't well documented with modern technology, which resulted in them being buried unmarked, and covered in dirt. This brings us to the Hackathon project idea, which is finding the lost wells of Appalachia. We took a three-step pipeline to actually find these wells using a UNet model that we trained and analyzed 70-year-old government maps. We then investigated each and every one of the wells that we found using an agent swarm and found all sorts of information like the land ownership and corporate records. We then had a routing process that would actually help apply the findings that we found by using federal funding and corporate liabilities. In just 24 hours, we were able to approximately find 40,000 undocumented wells that were never discovered before in just four Appalachian states.
So instead of showing these slides, I'm actually going to give you a quick demo. This is the dashboard that we built, and there's three specific wells I want to show off to you. This first well is in West Virginia. It seems like it's impacting no one. It's just in the middle of the forest, except it's right next to a stream, and that whole downstream is now being affected by the amount of methane and toxic chemicals that this well is leaking. Here's another one. This one is near a residential area and a school. It is crazy. This is definitely poisoning the community around it and the soil around it. And there's 40,000 other stories just like this that you can check out. So for example, let's go to this one, the Somersville Squad, and we can run an investigation on this well, and we can figure out who's nearby, we can figure out what we can do to stop it, and we can reach out to the senators, and we can even download a PDF on what to do about this well.
And now for a workflow for the project. We started off by fine-tuning the parameters of a Berkeley's UNet model, and we trained it on Appalachian topographical maps. Doing this, we were able to identify approximately 40,000 orphaned wells just overnight. We analyzed every single one of these wells for secondary features, including their corporate details, their population records, and based on all this information, we've ranked them based on the impact that they were having in their own communities. We also investigated every one of these wells with an agent swarm and investigated property records and a lot of other details. And they were all used to find a pathway to actually take action and plug these wells based on the individual stories that they have. And we thought it was so important to actually plug these wells that we had to mention it twice in our slideshow.
We just had to, right? Okay, so here are the final stats of this project. 40,000 orphan wells were discovered this weekend, and 900,000 metric tons of CO2 per year were also identified. We pulled an all-nighter, we maxed out 2 Google Collab accounts, and we spent $50 worth of Cloud Code credits. To be honest, this project is an inspiration of how we can use AI to impact the world. We started off by just seeing if we can identify these wells. We realized that wasn't that much of an impact, so we decided to just stay up all night and continue the project and keep building the pipeline. And we figured out that we were able to master the whole vertical, from identifying where these wells are to plugging them even next month. We have these actionable results now, and we can do something with them. And it was very moving and inspirational for us, and I hope it is for you too. This was a very fun day. Thank you.